Hello everyone, this is Ninja Girl, Sakura Went here, and last night I finally got to sit down and watch Sailor Moon Eternal Parts 1 and 2, which, if you didn't know, is finally on Netflix for us over in the States to finally watch it. The movies got released over in Japan back in January, February, in theaters, but yeah, we finally just got it now, and I wanted to make a video just sharing my overall thoughts, what I liked and didn't like. Overall though, I really enjoyed it, and I thought it adapted the dream arc from the manga very well. I had a great time sitting down watching these movies. Really enjoyed myself. But yeah, just to get the things I didn't like out of the way real quick, which is very little. I felt part 1, the pacing could have been a little bit better. There were things that just seemed very rushed. And I do think they may have put a little more effort and a little more budget into part 2 compared to part 1. Maybe. But yeah, some things did feel rushed in part 1. Mainly, the Inner Senshi's conflicts with the Amazon Trio in part 1. By the way, in the manga and this adaptation, the Amazon Trio, Hawk's Eye, Tiger's Eye, and Fish Eye, they're the pets of the Amazonas Quartet. It's a little different in the 90s anime. So yeah, I love Super S though, don't get me wrong. It's my favorite season of the original, although I know a lot of people hate it because of its focus on Chibiusa. I like it for that reason, but yeah, I understand why people may not like it. If you don't though, this version of the story is definitely the one for you. It's a lot more mature in tone and yeah, darker. So yeah, don't like Super S? You'll probably enjoy this. Anyway, as I was saying, basically what happens with the Inner Senshi and the Amazon Trio, it happens so fast, and it's the same way every time. The girls, one of the Inner Senshi, starts talking about their dreams and how maybe they aren't going to be able to achieve them, how maybe they're not doing enough to achieve said dream, and that allows one of the members of the Amazon Trio to take advantage of that and use their lemurs. That's what they call them in the English sub anyway. I'm not sure if it might be a different term in the subtitle version. I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch it subtitled. But I watched the English dub and that's what they call these creatures. So yeah. They trick one of the Senshi, capture them, use their lemurs to try and take their energy, make them doubt themselves, make them doubt their dreams, and then a tiny little form of their sailor soldier self appears to them and makes them basically snap out of it and realize that they have a duty to protect the princess, to protect their planet, to protect the people they love. That is their real dream, to just help those that they care about and be there for them. And that makes them snap out of the spell, and that's what also gives them their sailor crystal. So yeah, which by the way is a heart shape instead of an orb like it was in Super S. So yeah, like Mars crystal power, it's a heart shape now. It's not a wand with an orb on top. So, I kind of prefer the orb in Super S, in a way. But, it's okay. It's just the fact that that's exactly what happens every time, and it happens so quickly. I think they could have maybe paced that a little better. It was actually paced okay with Minako when it happened with her. They kind of stretched it out a little bit longer. But yeah, I just felt that was a little bit rushed each time. There was also some frames of the animation that could have been better. It didn't take away too much or anything, and there was nothing drastically bad. But there were just a few frames that I thought, ooh, that could be a little bit better. But nothing too bad. That's really the only negatives I had, though. Honestly. Yeah. I get, though, why people might be disappointed in the animation, though, because you have to remember that these movies, in Japan at least, you were charged the price of a movie ticket to go and see these. Is that animation quality up to the standard of a theatrical movie? In some frames, yes. Some frames, no. So, yeah, that I can see why some people might get a little upset that it's not pristine and perfect. I don't even know when the animation process would have started, for these movies. If it started in 2020 or the end of 2019, that would explain why some things don't look perfect. However, I'm not sure because they announced that they were adapting the Dream Arc. I think it was in 2017 they officially announced it. So, yeah, I have no idea when that process would have started for the animation. But yeah, I understand why some might be a little annoyed and disappointed by it. It didn't take away too much for me, though. It didn't bug me. It didn't bother me with Crystal Season 1 or 2 either, which a lot of people had issues with. I just didn't let it bug me. Really. Yeah. I haven't seen people complain about Crystal Season 3, though. Not really. So, yeah. What I really loved, though, was just the overall story. They really did a great job adapting the Dream Arc. It was so good. And I especially loved Chibiusa's whole arc throughout the 2 movies. I thought that was really well done, and I absolutely loved every minute of it. So, her arc basically throughout both movies, she meets Helios, really wants to help him, and he thinks she is the maiden that is destined to help him, because he had a vision of somebody and they said to look for somebody who is a princess and a guardian and a keeper of the Holy Stone, Silver Crystal, that will help him save his realm of Elysian. So, yeah. And Chibiusa's taken aback by being called maiden and all that, and just, she really wants to help him. But throughout the first part and some of the second, she starts thinking, and she is comparing herself to Usagi a lot, because she wants to be like Usagi. She wants to be as strong and beautiful as her. She wants to become a true lady like her. So, yeah. And she just starts looking down on herself, thinking that she just, as hard as she's trying, she's just not there yet. She wants to be, but she just can't be there yet. She's not there yet. She's really working at it. She wants to be a true lady, but she just can't achieve her dream yet, no matter how hard she tries. And there's this point where she starts thinking, I must not be the maiden that Helios really needs. It's got to be Usagi, not me. And she breaks down, calls Helios with the Crystal Kerillion, which looks very different from the one in Super S. I think I prefer the one in Super S, the red and gold one. But yeah, nonetheless, she breaks down, calls Helios with the bell, and basically tells him, I'm not the maiden you're looking for. Usagi is the one you're looking for. And runs off in tears. And it's, oh, that tugged at my heartstrings. Oh, I felt so bad. Especially because she is my favorite. But that also showed a pretty mature side of herself, really. So many people write her off as a brat, but throughout this movie, I think she showed a lot of maturity. Sure, she makes a little snipe at Usagi here and there, but it's all in good fun. And bottom line, they're family. They love each other, and Chibiusa idolizes Usagi. Even if she doesn't say it, she does. That's why she keeps comparing herself to Sailor Moon. So, yeah. And also remember that before her powers awakened, back in the 30th century, she was made fun of a lot because, oh, you're the daughter of the queen, yet you can't become a sailor soldier. Yeah. So she has that pressure on her, as well as pressure of the fact that she is Sailor Moon's daughter and she is expected to take the throne at some point and take the mantle of Sailor Moon before that even. So she's got a lot of pressure on her. So yeah, that scene just really shows it, and I really appreciated it. And I appreciated Sandy Fox's performance as Chibiusa in these kinds of moments where things would get intense for her. I think she did a great job. But yeah, she runs off in the rain crying, feeling horrible that she just can't be the one Helios needs. She's not a true lady like she wants to be. But then Helios actually appears to her and tells her not to cry, and then ends up kissing her. That's where they share their first kiss. And honestly, it's done in such a sweet way that I prefer it to how their first kiss was in Super S, I think. I thought it was so sweet. In Super S, their first kiss happens in the Age Switch episode, which Does also happen in this movie, by the way. But it was a little different in Super S, obviously. But yeah, it's in that same episode. And Chibiusa is actually the one who initiates the kiss. But this time, Helios is the one to kiss her. But it's done in such a sweet way. I really love it. I love their relationship throughout this whole movie. I love it in Super S too, but the way they handle it in Eternal, Chibiusa and Helios' relationship, it was so sweet and cute. So I really loved it. And after this kiss, you see Chibiusa blushing. And this is when she starts realizing she kind of has a thing for him. She might not realize that it's love exactly, but she knows she has feelings for him. So, yeah. And it's the cutest thing. And it's also the same scene where Usagi comes from behind her and hugs her. And that's so sweet. I love the mother-daughter moments like that too. I really do. So cute. That was so good to see. I love seeing that side of Chibiusa. Crystal has adapted her character a lot better than the 90s anime did. That's for darn sure. I still love her in the 90s anime, with the exception of Sailor Moon R in certain parts, because in Sailor Moon R, there are points where she does act like a total brat. At least until the second half of the season. But, yeah, Crystal shows what her character is really supposed to be like. She's not just an annoying little brat who is there to constantly bicker with Usagi. That is not the point of her character. What she really is a sweet but lonely kid who is also Sailor Moon's future daughter and can be at her level. She even has the same weapons, but yeah. I love how Crystal adapts her character, and I hope that it has made a lot more people like her. I really do. Because, yeah. That's the side of Chibiusa that I like. I don't like when she's bratty either. Even though sometimes I think it's funny and I laugh at it. Yeah. I definitely prefer Crystal's adaptation, I think, over the 90s anime. Both are good. It depends on what you're watching, I guess, but yeah. Thank you, Crystal, for doing her character far more justice, I think, overall in the long run. So, yeah. I also love how Nehelenia was made more threatening in this version as well. To refresh what her character was in the 90s anime, how they handled her arc in that version of events, Nehelenia was considered this beautiful queen, the most beautiful, and she didn't want to lose her beauty. She didn't want to grow old and ugly. And she used the mirror's magic to achieve this. But, if I remember correctly, she needed the golden crystal in order to leave that mirror and still keep her appearance. It's been a while since I've seen Super S. But bottom line, her main goal was eternal youth. She didn't want to grow old and ugly. And of course, she wanted to use the golden crystal to take over the world as well and keep those looks of hers, you know. And in Stars, this is anime only, but they end up redeeming Nehelenia. They Usagi, with her friend's power, turns her back into a child and kind of resets her to where she can live a happier life. So, yeah. But in the manga, and this, it's quite different. So, we all know about Silver Millennium and Queen Serenity, and the beautiful kingdom that was the White Moon Kingdom, right? However, if I remember correctly, I don't think she even says this in Eternal, but I remember from the manga. Now, Helenia was the queen of the dark side of the moon, if I remember right. And on the day of Princess Serenity's birth, they hold a celebration celebrating her being born. We even see Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus as little kids. And yeah, they're told that they're going to be Serenity's sworn guardians, and they vowed to protect her and keep her safe. And we know they do. That was very cute. But during the party, Nehelenia shows up. And they can, all the Inner Senshi, even as kids, could tell there was something wrong with her. They could tell there was something off. But Queen Serenity, she's a just queen, she's very kind. She tries to be diplomatic and just says, look, if you're here to just celebrate with us, you're more than welcome. You can hang out with us, you can be here as long as you want. But if you are here to cause trouble, then you need to leave. And since Nehelenia is evil, Queen Serenity is forced to use a silver crystal and ends up sealing her in the mirror. However, before she does, Queen Nehelenia also places a curse on baby Princess Serenity, saying that she will not take the throne and that the Moon Kingdom will fall. And we know that happens due to Queen Beryl. So, yeah, Queen Nehelenia was, in a way, responsible for the fall of the Moon Kingdom. Although it's never stated if the curse is exactly why, but I guess I would like to think it is. So that's kind of interesting. It adds a little more to Nehelenia, in a way. So yeah, very cool. Her backstory is not the only one that's kind of different. There's also changes with Mamoru's character. So, and I did wonder if they would take this out. I also thought they might take the whole thing with the curse on Princess Serenity out with Nehelenia as well. So, yeah, but they did it. They actually kept it in. But Mamoru, throughout the dream arc, is extremely sick. I don't think they really show that in the 90s anime at all. Really? I don't remember them showing it. But in the manga and this, you see he gets super sick. He starts coughing up black blood. And even Usagi gets affected at one point due to Nehelenia's curse. And her basically sucking the life out of the planet. So, yeah. But, yeah. We also see that Mamoru has a connection to Helios. But the main thing that's different is the golden crystal. Many people forget this, but Mamoru is actually the sailor soldier of Earth. Because, yeah, if the king and queen of Earth had had a daughter, it would be Sailor Earth. But they had a son, Endymion. And he is technically the sailor soldier of Earth. And while in the 90s anime, the golden crystal was Helios' horn, that's why Nehelenia in the 90s anime needed to find the golden dream mirror that Pegasus was hiding in, because she needed the golden crystal from him to get its power. But in the manga and this, Mamoru is the holder of the golden crystal. It's his equivalent to the silver crystal, which is a pretty big change. So, yeah, that was cool to finally see properly adapted. Because throughout the whole story, he feels like he's a burden on Usagi, and she feels like maybe she's burdening him because he's always trying to help her, and then he ends up getting hurt. But you see how much they really love and trust each other throughout the whole thing. Very sweet. But yeah, that's another cool change from Super S that I'm glad to finally see. Yeah, also with Helios, we do get a little more backstory with Elysian. We don't really get it in Super S. I mean, we do, but we don't. But yeah, we find out that Elysian was basically part of the Golden Kingdom, which was Mamoru's kingdom, you know, when he was Prince Endymion. And he would help watch over the earth from Elysian. Helios would. He was the priest of Elysian. He had his two priestess with him as well. And yeah, also, he doesn't turn into a Pegasus exactly. I'd like to think that he puts his soul into his Pegasus, his actual Pegasus. So yeah, it's a little different, but also not. Yeah, I hope I'm making sense. But that was, again, very cool to see. I also loved Outer Senshi coming back. That's actually where part 2 starts. The Outer Senshi were not in Super S at all. They come back in Stars, but they were not in Super S at all when they were in the manga version of the storyline. So, of course, they're back here. It was great seeing them again, especially Hotaru. She is my favorite of the Outers. And I really love when her and Chibiusa are reunited. They actually team up together. They make a pretty good team. But, yeah. Chibiusa is kind of hesitant to even talk to Hotaru at first. she kind of is like, wow, you grew up quick? And Hotaru, she's like, yes, I had to grow up quick because of what's going on right now. Because remember the last time Chibiusa saw her, she was a baby. And she didn't think she would see her again for a long time. So, seeing her again was kind of a shock. But, on top of Hotaru saying, I had to grow up because of the situation, she also tells Chibiusa she wanted to fight by her side because best friends. That is so sweet. I loved it. I loved that so much. And again, they actually make a pretty good team. They really do. They do end up getting caught by the Amazonas Quartet. But they fought well together. I really enjoyed that. Also, can I say they debated me by almost giving Chibiusa a solo crisis makeup transformation? I really wish she would get one to herself. She had a transformation to herself, obviously with Moon Prism power, but I mean with Super Sailor Chibi Moon. She would always do it with Usagi. She never got to transform alone, and I thought they were going to do it at one point, but anyway, yeah. It was nice just seeing the Outers, and especially Otaru and Chibiusa together again. Really loved that. And especially going up against the Amazonas Quartet, which they have the biggest change, I think. One of the biggest changes. So, if you've read the manga, you know this. If you've only seen the 90s anime, you don't know this. So, this is a spoiler. The Amazonas Quartet are actually sailor soldiers as well. Were prematurely awakened by Nehelenia and are actually the asteroid sailor soldiers. Sailor Juno, Sailor Vesta, Sailor Pallas, and Sailor Ceres. And they are Chibiusa's future sailor soldier team. They are her equivalent to Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Venus in the future. And I think in Stars we do get to actually see that. So please let them adapt Stars. I really hope they do. So yeah, that was so cool to finally see adapted. So awesome. Really enjoyed that. I also enjoyed seeing everyone become their princess selves. They finally get their princess gowns because all the sailor soldiers were the princesses of their planet. I think they hinted that in the 90s anime a little bit, but they never flat out say it. Here they do. So yeah, we get to see them in their gowns. Chibiusa's is actually very different. She has a pink gown instead of the same white gown that Princess Serenity had in the 90s anime, and she had the same one in the 90s anime. And honestly, I'm starting to like that pink gown a little better. I thought that was so beautiful. I do hate that they spoiled that though when they released the music video for this. They really shouldn't have shown that. That's a big spoiler that they have princess forms like that. As well as their eternal forms. We finally get to see that adapted. Previously, that was only exclusive to the manga, but now we finally got to see it. Very awesome. But I wish they hadn't spoiled that. I don't know. It's just been weird with how they've promoted this whole thing. I hate that they spoiled that. But yeah. It was so cool to see all of the things from the manga finally adapted into animation. I can't choose which version of the story I like more. Super S or Eternal. Both based on the same story. I just can't choose between them. They're both really good. It's so hard to choose. It really is. We see Eternal Sailor Moon, of course, as well. But I still don't like the look of Eternal Sailor Moon. I still prefer Super Sailor Moon. I don't really like the eternal forms of the inners and outers either. I don't know what it is. I just prefer the super versions. Especially with Chibi Moon. I can't exactly pinpoint it. I just prefer the designs of the super outfits. But yeah. That was Sailor Moon Eternal. It was a very nice adaptation. I really, really enjoyed it. Really did. Oh, so good. I also didn't expect to hear Shiku Ikimasho in the credits, which is the ending theme from Super S. That was a nice surprise. I also thought that there was going to be a to be continued in the credits, because they do kind of hint, in the end, Usagi and Mamoru talk about there's a star in your heart, stuff like that, which star seeds. I think that's what they were hinting at. And I had heard there was a to be continued after the credits, but I didn't see that with the Netflix release, so I don't know. Maybe they cut it out of that release, but I really hope they do adapt Stars, because there are some changes to Stars that they could fix, kind of, if they follow the manga. I know there was the one change that Naoko herself wasn't happy with, so in the 90s anime version of Stars, the Starlights were men who transformed into women, if I remember right. And in the manga, they're women who are just dressed up as men, and of course, look like normal Sailor Senshi when they transform. So yeah, I think that was a change that Naoko didn't like. It's not a huge deal, but it is something I know she, I think, didn't want changed that the staff at Toei did. I'd have to look more into that. And there's also some of the Sailor anime mates that work for Galaxia that were cut out that they could put back in. There's some cool stuff they could bring into the Stars arc if they adapt it, which I really hope they do. They hinted they might. I heard they might with it to be continued, but I just didn't see it. So, but I'm hoping they will. So yeah, I think that will do it for this video though. That is my overall thoughts. I thought Eternal was great and a wonderful adaptation from the manga. There were a few things here and there, animation-wise, that could have been better, but it didn't ruin it. It didn't take away from the movie. It's just some things that you go, ooh, real quick and then move on. Unless you're super picky about the animation, I guess. But it didn't bug me. I had a great time watching these movies. I'm looking forward to the Hopeful Stars adaptation some point down the line in the next, I don't know, 5 years, because this took forever to come out. But I'm glad it finally did. So yeah. But if you did enjoy this video, leave a like, share it around if you want. If you want to follow me on Twitter, where I sometimes talk about Sailor Moon, that link will be in the description below. If you want to support the channel on Patreon, that link will also be in the description below. But yeah, I guess now we wait for the Sailor Stars adaptation. Till then, see you guys later.